The young and the restless spoilers over the past few weeks, a palpable undercurrent of anticipation has swept through Genoa City, fueled by tantalizing whispers of an invitation so exclusive that only the most influential players could hope to receive it. Aristotle Dumas, the enigmatic magnate whose very name evokes intrigue, has extended such an invitation to a mysterious soirée in Nice, a gathering that promises to be as intoxicating as it is dangerous. Ever since rumors first surfaced, speculation has run rampant. What is Dumas's true motive? Is he merely unveiling himself to the city's elite, eager to claim his rightful place among them? Or does he intend to drop a bombshell so seismic that it will forever alter the power dynamics of Newman Enterprises, Jabot, and Chancellor Winters? The backdrop for this drama is the memory of a similar event in 2019 at the Grand Phoenix, where a seemingly innocuous pitcher of sangria was laced with a powerful sedative, sending Genoa City's finest into a frenzy of reckless abandon. That night, alliances fractured, scandals erupted, and lives were irrevocably changed. Now, like a masterful director calling the shots, the writers of The Young and the Restless appear poised to recreate, and perhaps eclipse, that unforgettable catastrophe under the warm Mediterranean moonlight. Aristotle Dumas's invitation arrives on embossed cream paper, bearing an ornate seal that blends classical elegance with a modern minimalist aesthetic. Its wording is as sparse as Dumas himself. Your presence is requested at Villa Lumiere, Nice, June 15, 8 p.m. Attire, evening chic. Discretion paramount. No hint is given of the event's purpose, only that it will be an evening of revelation. Within Genoa City's gilded salons, speculation has already begun. Victoria Newman, ever vigilant where her family's interests are concerned, wonders if Dumas intends to present evidence that could undermine Newman Enterprises or perhaps forge an unexpected alliance with Phyllis Summers. Jack and Diane Abbott, acutely aware of Jabot's precarious financial position, fear that a strategic partnership or hostile takeover bid could be lurking behind the facade of champagne toasts. Meanwhile, Devon Hamilton and Lily Winters weigh the potential risks to Chancellor Winters. Could Dumas seek to recruit Lily, leveraging her goodwill and creative vision, or might he aim to depress her spirits with a revelation that could force her into an unthinkable decision? The shadow of 2019 looms large. That ill-fated gathering at the Grand Phoenix, hosted by an ambitious socialite with a penchant for danger, was intended as a dazzling showcase of wealth and glamour. Yet when Molly, then a junior intern at Newman Enterprises, discovered discrepancies in the sangria recipe, it was already too late. The drug, an experimental psychotropic designed to lower inhibitions, was brewed into the punch by party staff unwittingly following clandestine instructions. One by one, the guests slipped into a liminal space where desire and paranoia merged, unleashing a night of torrid confessions, emotional betrayals, and physical confrontations. Billy Abbott, under its influence, accused Phyllis of plotting against him. Sharon's carefully guarded secret about her involvement with Adam Newman spilled out in uncontrolled tears, and Nick desperately chased after someone he believed had stolen Nikki's affections. By dawn, police had arrived to break up a brawl so violent that the lobby's marble floors were stained with more than spilled red wine. The aftermath left reputations in tatters and relationships shattered. Proof positive of how swiftly indulgence can become an agent of destruction. Now, for the first time in 6 years, the specter of that night has returned. Internet forums dedicated to YNR fans buzz with theories. Is Dumas in league with the same rogue elements who orchestrated the 2019 drugging? Or has he developed a new substance capable of inciting even greater extremes? Early testing in European labs suggests the existence of a novel compound that not only heightens passion but also deepens guilt, so that after the high wears off, the emotional fallout is magnified tenfold. Picture a scenario in which long-simmering rivalries erupt into open warfare, with secrets as lethal as any forged trumpet blast. Will Diane Jenkins, haunted by recent losses, succumb to impulses she cannot control? Could Devon find himself at the mercy of his darker instincts, risking the hard-won stability he's built with Elena? And what of Claire Grace, whose own mercurial heart might seize the opportunity to exact revenge on those she believes have wronged her. What adds an extra layer of peril is the location. Villa Lumiere sits perched on a cliff overlooking the azure expanse of the Côte d'Azur, its gardens illuminated by soft lantern light and its hallways lined with priceless works of art. Security is described as impenetrable, yet insiders whisper of a back entrance known only to a select few, perhaps the same backdoor through which substances might be clandestinely delivered. The villa's architecture, a fusion of Belle Époque grandeur and contemporary sleekness, creates an intoxicating labyrinth where anything can happen out of sight. Should tensions flare, a single misstep could plunge a guest into the rocky waters below. A poetic echo of the moral precipice they themselves are approaching. For the power players of Genoa City, this is both an opportunity and a gauntlet. Navigate the evening unscathed, and you might emerge with a jackpot of leverage, falter, and your downfall could be as dramatic as the sea that threatens the villa's edge. Amidst this swirl of conjecture, a few steadfast figures prepare for what may come. Nicky Newman, ever the loyal matriarch, plans to attend alongside Nick, armed with a steel resolve and a hidden dose of the same drug from 2019, an insurance policy against whatever deceptions Dumas might unleash. Jack Abbott, suspicious of Dumas's motives, has arranged for private investigators to infiltrate the event, hoping to intercept any illicit exchanges before they reach their intended targets. Meanwhile, Michael Baldwin, whose moral compass has rarely failed him, debates whether to confront Dumas directly or to play the long game, using legal leverage to extract the truth. In quieter corners, Claire and Billy Abbott share whispered confidences. Will they stand united, or will ghosts from their tumultuous pasts drive a wedge between them when temptation strikes? As the countdown to June 15 ticks down, the fabric of Genoa City's social order frays with each passing hour. The gathering at Villa Lumiere is more than just an indulgent escapade. It is a crucible that threatens to test friendships, romantic bonds, and business loyalties. If Aristotle Dumas truly intends to recreate the chaos of 2019, or perhaps surpass it, then no alliance can be taken for granted. Trust will prove as perilous as the drugs rumored to course through the party's signature cocktails. And when the night ends, the survivors will find themselves irrevocably changed, for better or worse, by secrets revealed under the glow of the Mediterranean stars. In the end, Genoa City will learn whether passion can withstand the weight of guilt, whether power can survive a test of conscience, and whether a single invitation can alter the destiny of all who accept it. The next chapter in The Young and the Restless promises to be as unforgettable as it is unforgiving. And the world will be watching as the players make their moves on Dumas's shadow-strewn stage. Building on the mounting tension around Aristotle Dumas's invitation, the guest list itself reads like a who's who of Genoa City's power players, and each name carries its own hidden agenda. Audra Charles, having deftly ingratiated herself with Victor Newman's inner circle, plans to attend alongside Kyle Abbott. With Cole Howard sidelined in the hospital, Claire Grace Newman finds herself stripped of her usual ally in Jabot's boardroom, leaving Kyle vulnerable to Audra's long-nurtured ambitions. Rumor has it that Victor quietly promised Audra the remainder of the seed funding for Kyle's joint venture, on the condition that she convince Kyle to betray Claire. Should a surreptitiously laced cocktail render his inhibitions moot, Audra dreams of waking beside him at dawn, the evidence of her triumph tangible in more ways than one. But as Audra fine-tunes her strategy, Kyle wrestles with the loyalty he owes to Claire and the tantalizing prospect of personal gain that comes with Victor's patronage. Meanwhile, beneath the gilded chandeliers and within the shadowy alcoves of Villa Lumiere, other entanglements loom. Nick Newman, ever the restless soul, has quietly begun to rekindle latent feelings for Sharon, even as his mother, Nikki, advises caution. Will the combination of Dumas's inscrutable charisma and an unguarded moment under the influence of the new, more potent psychotropic be enough to draw Sharon and Nick together? And what of Amanda Sinclair and Devon Hamilton, whose professional partnership at Chancellor Winters has lately bordered on the electric? Insiders suggest that the same substance whispered to heighten passion and deepen guilt might shepherd them into each other's arms, leaving both to grapple with the fallout when memory returns and reputations teeter on the brink of ruin. Yet the most combustible element may lie in the unpredictable heart of Lily Winters. With her father, Neil, still unwinding the implications of Devon's recent betrayals, Lily seeks a semblance of escape, and her eye has fallen on Kane Ashby. In the weeks leading up to June 15th, talk has swirled about a possible recasting of the Kane role, with actor Billy Flynn rumored to be stepping into those shoes. Should that casting change become public at the villa, Claire, who has maintained a guarded neutrality, may find herself confronted by a doppelganger of her former friend and confidant. If the new Kane, Billy Flynn's version, crosses paths with Lily under the hallucinatory haze of Dumas's concoction, the chemistry could ignite into something far more dangerous than mere attraction. Add to that the specter of a brand new Kane scheming to leverage Lily's emotional vulnerability, and the stage is set for a scandal that would dwarf even the chaos of the Grand Phoenix. It is in this combustible milieu that Aristotle Dumas positions himself as both observer and provocateur. His villa's gardens, strewn with flickering lanterns and veiled by the scent of jasmine, provide the perfect crucible for transformation, one in which the bonds of loyalty fray and the architecture of power is rewritten. As servers glide through the crowd with trays of iridescent cocktails, each glass seems to promise not only oblivion but also revelation, a chance for long-buried truths to surface, for alliances to be reforged, and for ambitions to crystallize into irrevocable action. Dumas, who has so far remained an enigma, watches from the fringes, his motives inscrutable. Is he testing the mettle of Genoa City's elite, seeking to identify who will betray and who will endure? Or is he orchestrating a more personal vendetta, one aimed at those who once undercut him, those who assumed he would remain forever in the shadows? By the time the moon reaches its zenith over the Côte d'Azur, the true challenge of Villa Lumiere will have revealed itself. Audra may discover that Kyle's loyalty to Claire runs deeper than she anticipated, even in the face of illicit temptation. Nick and Sharon may find solace in one another's arms, only to wake with the bitter knowledge that their liaison will fuel tabloid firestorms. Amanda and Devon could confront the limits of their friendship as guilt claws at them from within. Lily, caught between the ghost of the old Kane and the persona of the new, may stumble into a revelation that threatens to upend her sense of self. And Claire, arriving alone, might find that the very absence imposed by Cole's hospitalization leaves her vulnerable to Dumas's most cunning gambit yet, the unveiling of a secret so potent that it could shake the foundations of Newman Enterprises itself. When dawn finally creeps across the villa's ornate balustrades and the guests emerge from their nocturnal odyssey, Genoa City will awaken to a landscape irrevocably altered. Contracts once thought ironclad may be voided by revelations born in the depths of euphoria. Romantic entanglements could shatter alliances and forge new ones, leaving behind a tapestry of whispered betrayals and broken promises. And through it all, Aristotle Dumas will have observed which bonds held fast and which succumbed to his carefully engineered storm. In the end, only those with the fortitude to face the consequences, those unafraid of guilt, passion, and ambition in equal measure, will walk away from Villa Lumiere with their power intact. For in Genoa City, as in life itself, the line between triumph and catastrophe is as thin and perilous as the edge of a cliff under a moonlit sky. Over the past weeks, a restless tension has woven itself through Genoa City's tight-knit circles, each of its threads tugging at Mariah Copeland in ways she struggles to articulate. It was in the silent expanse of Memorial Park that Tessa Porter finally reached her, finding Mariah perched atop a cold stone bench beneath the skeletal arms of an ancient oak. The afternoon sun filtered through the half-bare branches, painting dappled patterns across Mariah's tense shoulders. "Please," Tessa began, her voice low and urgent, "you have to let me in. I know something happened that night, and I can't stand by watching you carry it alone." Mariah's response was a quick, brittle laugh that cut through the hush of the park like shattered glass. "Let you in," she snapped, twisting to look away so that her tears would not be seen. "There's nothing safe about this. Secrets destroy people, Tessa, don't you get that?" But Tessa would not relent. She edged closer, folding her arms against the spring breeze as though bracing herself against a storm. "I know it feels that way," she admitted gently, "but you're not alone. Whatever happened, whatever you think you've done, you don't have to face it by yourself." Mariah's chest trembled, and for a heartbeat it seemed as though the walls she had raised might finally crumble. She stared at her hands, stained faintly by the memory of Ian Ward's crisis, the tragedy that had set this entire chain of events in motion. Finally, her voice broke. "I should have stopped it. I should have known." Her words came in a rush, the night she found herself unwittingly intoxicated at a party she barely remembered, the man she barely knew, whose laughter had felt warm and genuine as they held hands across a candlelit table. The stolen moments when she believed, however briefly, that she was escaping her own pain. Each detail spilled out in trembling fragments, and as she spoke, Tessa sat beside her, silent and unwavering, absorbing every confession without judgment. But just as the confession reached its fragile apex, Mariah's fear overwhelmed her. She bolted from the bench, legs pumping as though she could outrun the truth itself, her sobs muffled by the sudden thrust of adrenaline. Tessa sprang to her feet, calling after her name, sprinting across the grass in shoes unsuited to the chase, determined to bring her friend back from the brink. By twilight, Mariah had wound her way alone to the familiar glow of crimson lights, Genoa City's beloved coffeehouse whose warm lanterns and worn leather chairs had once offered her nothing but solace. The door chimed as she entered, and Daniel Morgan, who sat at a corner table poring over legal briefs, looked up immediately. He recognized the look in her eyes, haunted, distant, the kind of sorrow no cup of coffee could fully erase. "Hey, Mariah," he said, rising to his feet. "You okay?" He motioned toward the empty chair across from him. His concern was genuine. He had noticed her abrupt departure from a quilt store earlier that day and her overly polite refusal when he'd asked if she wanted company. Now, her shoulders shook slightly beneath a too large cardigan, and her eyes glistened with unshed tears. Daniel closed his laptop and set it aside. "I've seen that look before. You don't have to do this alone." But even as he spoke, Mariah stiffened, stepping back from the table, clutching the strap of her purse as though it were a lifeline. "That's none of your business," she whispered, her voice raw. "I'm fine." There was an edge to her words that cut Daniel's heart just as surely as any blade might. He searched her face, seeing the flicker of pain beneath her defiance, but he also saw her resolve not to let anyone close enough to see how badly she was falling apart. Respecting the boundary she had drawn, even as it pained him, Daniel simply nodded. "All right," he said softly, though his eyes remained on her. "But just so you know, the offer stands. If you ever need me, I'm here." Mariah offered a curt nod in return and moved toward the counter, where the barista greeted her with a warm smile, oblivious to the storm swirling beneath Mariah's composed facade. As evening deepened into night, the lights of crimson lights seemed to glow more brightly, as though in defiance of the darkness that threatened to engulf its patrons. Tessa, retracing her steps from the park, arrived just in time to see Mariah slip inside, and she felt a fresh pang of frustration and helplessness. She pushed through the door, catching Daniel's eye, and saw him shrink back, offering a sympathetic shrug before returning to his papers. Across the room, Mariah sat at a small table by the window, cradling a cup of herbal tea, her knuckles white around the rim. Tessa hesitated for a moment, aware that Mariah had already rejected Daniel's concern, but she knew she could not leave her friend alone tonight. With measured footsteps, she made her way to the table and took the seat opposite Mariah. Before she could speak, Mariah's shoulders tensed even further, and she looked up, eyes bright with unshed tears and anger. "Don't," she said, voice tight. "I don't want your pity." Tessa pressed her lips together, took a deep breath, and let her calm resolve shine through. "I'm not here to pity you. I'm here because I care about you. And because when this secret is tearing you apart, it's tearing me apart, too." Mariah's gaze flicked away once more, and Tessa knew she had to choose her words carefully. "You said you blamed yourself for Ian. But none of it was your fault. You didn't plan what happened at that party, you were a victim of circumstances you didn't control. It was partly true, and partly a comforting lie, but Mariah needed that anchor more than ever. At the mention of Ian Ward, Mariah's composure cracked, and tears finally spilled over. She rose abruptly, shoulders shaking, as though the sheer weight of her grief demanded a physical release. "I can't keep doing this," she sobbed, voice hoarse. "I can't keep pretending." Tessa reached across the table, gently covering Mariah's hand with her own. "You don't have to pretend. Not with me." And in that moment, as the world outside carried on in its indifferent rhythm, Mariah Copeland allowed herself to surrender. To vulnerability, to the promise that she need no longer bear her burden in absolute isolation. Somewhere between the flickering lanterns of crimson lights and the quiet hush of the night, two friends found a fragile hope, that by sharing the unspoken, they might begin to heal the wounds that had long festered in silence.